Howdy, y'all. Riley here, your honorary judge, courtroom commentator, and Southern Fried Sass dispenser with a touch of true crime obsession. Welcome back to another episode of Sustained and Unfiltered, y'all. Well, I'm fixing to give you the lowdown on day one of the KarenRead retrial. And let me tell you, it was messier than gravy on a white tablecloth. And I figured it was going to be juicy, but I did not expect the juiciest part was going to be the last 10 or 15 minutes of the day when the jury had already been dismissed, for Pete's sake. Oh, you're going to want to stick around to hear all about how Alessi finally lost his cool with Judge Bev, although he still never got disrespectful. I know he's not from the South, but I swear that man must have a Southern mama who raised him right. Just saying. So grab your sweet tea and let's dig in. Plus, this courtroom's a little hard. Okay, we opened strong. I hate to admit it, but I gotta give him some props or flowers, if I may. And I hate to admit that. Compared to Lally's last version on the first trial, I didn't doze off one time. Hand to God, I did not. And honey, he was working that courtroom like a Baptist preacher on Easter Sunday. Here's what he had to say in very small part. He actually says, Karen dropped off John O'Keefe, put her SUV in neutral after she had taken off when the fight was over. And she stopped. And then in dramatic, I felt like I was watching maybe Lifetime TV. Matter of fact, I can't even go that far. I don't want to insult Lifetime TV shows. Come on, Brennan. This is where he got a little his delivery. He's no General Hospital, but he had the nerve to say that Karen took off after the little argument, which I'm still like, it got that heated in a 10-minute drive where she would want to hit him with her own new car. I mean, I don't. I'm not saying it was brand new, but if you remember from the first trial, it was no more than a year old. And it's a Lexus SUV. It's gonna cost you like that's like a down payment on my trailer. Well, or even let's be real, that was the cost of my trailer. No judgment, please. Anyway, what was I even saying before I got so upset? Oh, how Brennan actually thought that KarenRead took off after having this huge fight with John from a 10-minute drive, stopped her car, put it in neutral, and then put it in reverse, put her foot pedal to the metal, went so hard on that gas pedal that the tires did done spun up the snow that was underneath. And keep in mind, it had just started snowing, so calm it down with the dramatics. It hit so fast that she sideswiped him. I don't think it was. Oh no 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 no! I'm sorry. I didn't mean sideswipe. That might have been something from Paul last year when he did the pirouette. No, 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 no. She put the car in reverse, went 24.2 miles per hour in reverse for 35 feet. Drunk skunk, because anybody who's that drunk as they say she was, could do that with no problem in the snow, as they keep reminding us. And then she clipped John. Just clipped him. Well, let me get this straight. We have now gone from the first trial of she hit him so hard, Trooper Paul, he threw his arm up, got hit, did a pirouette, and flew across like, what was it, 20 feet to his landing place of death. Bless him. So now she she knowingly left but backed it up, backed that truck up. Beep. There were no beep beeps because she wanted the element of surprise, I guess. Because she was still so pissed off at whatever this conversation was. But she went again 24.2 miles per hour in reverse, 35 feet in the snow, and clipped. on just in that one little arm area. Because now their whole theory is that she didn't kill him on purpose, maybe. He lost me there a little bit. I'm going to admit. I don't know if it was on purpose because she backed it up, but I guess if they're saying, you know, how you murder someone and they say, uh, when you're thinking about it and you're like, well, I wasn't planning to kill him when I got there, but he made me so mad. And so I went and got a knife or whatever. Well, that is what they call you pre, not pre existing. You know what I'm talking about when you think about it. And you think, well, no, I didn't put any thought into it. I was just acting and I went to get my knife and then I stabbed him, Jody Arias. Girl. Uh, anyway, that's what I'm talking about right there. So that's how they're going to get around whether or not she murdered John, I guess, because she was leaving and then put her car in neutral, thought about it, to, took her foot off the brake and put it on the gas when she went in reverse. The dramatics was, uh, well, let me just say, he was not going to get an Emmy or an Oscar. But that's just bad physics. And it's a good thing that was in his opening, so he didn't actually have to prove anything. He could say whatever the hell he wanted, and he did because Alan Jackson, Action Jackson, if I may take the liberties, when you talk about physics, this boy knows what he's talking about, so he would have just chewed that theory right up, and I am sure he will, because that was ridiculous. And I'll give Brennan the fact that he was compelling at times until he lost me with that ridiculous statement. I'm I'm telling you right now. Anybody who was even partially like, "Oh, he's making a good strong statement." You put your own car in neutral with that one. I want to back up and hit that stupid theory out the window. Ridiculous. But then we were saved by another Baptist preacher named Alan Jackson. And let me tell you, girl or boy, no judgment. He was cooler than a cucumber in gin and tonic. He didn't shout. She was framed at all. Nope. If anybody had that on odds in Vegas, you lost, baby. You shouldn't gamble anyway. That's what the preacher would have told you. He planted the seeds of reasonable doubt, like a southern ant planting tomatoes in May. And baby, that strategy, it was a good. I was whew, Alan Jackson. You thought you might have forgotten how good he was since we hadn't really heard from him in really strong statements because unless he was doing much of the talking over the motions, thank goodness. But we got a reminder of just how Alan Jackson is worth being in debt for $5 million. Do you know what I mean? I mean, he was on fire. And frankly, I'm like, well, I don't even know if he was just dialing it in a little bit during the first trial. I'll be honest, because he was so much more. You could tell the research that they have done since the first trial was over. Oh, baby, they've got some things to prove this time around. And I know you're not even supposed to have to prove your client's innocence, but let's be real. The jury always wants to know why you're not calling witnesses, why you're not cross-examining things, and if she doesn't take the stand. It's like, jury, they sure are judgy, aren't they? But I'm just saying, honey, if those jury people had never heard of this case before, and let's get real, they did. I'm sure they'd all been thrilled to be on this case, and they were checking out things since the day they got put on the trial. Please. Anywho, but if there was one that really hadn't heard of this case and didn't know what Alan Jackson was packing, oh baby, just saying, they're like, damn. Anyway, meanwhile, Judge Cannone, well, she had her hands full. She ruled out dramatic text readings. So there's no, so there, so there goes our courtroom Shakespeare dreams. And I had my popcorn ready. Actually, that was a very good call because listen, some of those texts are really, really douchey sounding. And some of them, like the ones from John, between John and Karen, I don't need somebody to read those and put their own little twist on it. I mean, how many times have you got mad at somebody by reading somebody's text because you inferred a little too much? Next thing you know, you're ghosting him and he was just trying to figure out what you wanted for dinner. Uh-huh. So imagine us having to listen to somebody do that with something they don't even know. They're putting a little too much inference on the wrong words. And and frankly, you know people today. I mean, I know I'm from the South and all, but y'all are teaching kids today that you don't even need punctuation. You don't need to, and somehow they're calling women woman. I don't get that. It's plural. The word is plural. And I really do think I heard Brennan do it yesterday during one of his speeches. I think he said woman when he meant women more than once when he was talking to the first witness. I swear, I think I heard. I'm gonna have to go back. I mean, he does say some words that aren't words. Have you heard him? And we're talking about a guy who's making $250,000 here, and he still thinks that it's supposedly. Well, that is, frankly, it is a real word. But if you look that up, they will say we Americans, most likely, never use it correctly. It is rarely correct to use that word. The word he's thinking or should be using is supposedly. Uh huh. But he says a few words wrong anyway. But who am I to talk about somebody's accent or where they say things wrong? But that's not a word that should be used right. He's using the wrong word. And the plural of woman is women, not woman. Okay, I'm getting off my soapbox right now. I am so sorry. I think somebody spiked my sweet tea. Where was I? Oh yeah, I was talking about Judge Cannone. Well, let me tell you something. I'm going to go over this a little bit at the end of this discussion when I talk about my man Alessi getting a little big for his britches, but it was a good show. I did eat that popcorn after all. I just didn't eat it when I thought I would. Just let me tell you, when ARCCA came up, oh Lord have mercy, subpoenas, deleted texts, cross accusations. It was like a legal soap opera. I felt I was watching Boston Legal, matter of fact. That's a show from like the 90s. I love that show. It's before William Shatner, you know, lost his mind. And who doesn't love James Spader? Anyway, ARCA situation. Boy, it had me a little floored. I've got to admit, I was a little floored. But there was deleted text from the defense, and I was a little upset with Judge Bev when she called uh, Alessi out. It got a little hot under my collar, and I was about to come through the television, but I had to stop myself. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. We'll talk about that later. Let's get back to the show. So first up was the first witness. EMT, was he EMT? Because at this point, I can't remember if he was an EMT or a paramedic or a fireman. I'm sure he's all three. All right, he's an EMT now. I'm pretty sure he was an EMT then, but he started at 15. And we know that because we had to hear about his little story about how he even became an EMT person and a fireman. But I have to admit, Brennan did ask good questions. I didn't have to hear one kind of lully questions, lollygagging, straight to the point. He asked like 4 or 5 questions of Nuttall. Oh, did I even say his name? I did not. I am so sorry. That first witness, EMT Timothy Nuttall. That's a last name, shouldn't it? Nuttall. Uh, anyway, he had the nerve to go on and on that Brennan made him swore up and down that Karen screamed, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him 3 times. Not 2 times like the first trial. No. Timothy Nuttall has now remembered that it was 3 times, not 2 times like he swore to. And as Alan Jackson has confirmed with him, his memory gets better, not worse. Well, I wish I could say the same because this brain of mine is foggier than San Francisco. And if you've never been in San Francisco, you need to go because it is gorgeous. I do not suggest you go down that windy street. It's really not worth all the hype. It's a windy street. I can get that in the back roads without all the traffic. Anyway, Nuttall said, yep, literally, yep, more times than I care to imagine. And I am from the South. We say, yep, 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 yep. But Alan Jackson, he pulled out the receipts. Oh, yes, he did. There was some weird. Alan was not making a lot of sense at first with how he was trying to connect some dots because everybody thought he was getting a little senile. Replaying the video that Brennan had played that we had literally just watched. They had to back that up and play it again because we were all getting confused. Judge Bev was getting annoyed because nobody could figure out really where Alan was going. And I usually can follow Alan. But honey, he was doing some backup driving too. But then, like, the last minute, he glued those pieces together like it was a jigsaw puzzle. Finished. Gonna hang that sucker up on the wall in the bathroom. What he pointed out was, uh, Timothy Nuttall, your what you just swore to and has been talking about that you heard Karen say when you literally said, "Do you know him?" The first thing she ever said to you was, "I hit him, I hit him, I hit him." Bitch, please. Which made no sense, but what made few less sense and what Alan Jackson was finally getting across was that he was trying to say that that was said to him when his coworker was doing CPR. Well, once it was finally understood where Alan was going, what Mr. Timothy Nuttall had to confess to was oopsie daisy. I might have had that mixed up because he's not doing CPR at all right now. But I swear it's all my memory. It has faded again. Oh, sorry. It just comes and goes. I'm 28. My brain. Oh, me. Please, Alan Jackson, give me a break. I hit him. I hit him. I hit him. That's all I remember. It was said. It was done. I might have just got the pieces wrong. But Alan, who he had that whole story. He was not going to let go of that storyline until he got his point across. It was like he was holding on to a dog bone. And frankly, the funniest thing about his great memory, it does have a problem because he could not remember. Well, he remembered talking to Proctor, but every single thing that Alan asked him about his conversation with Proctor, he didn't remember. I don't remember. I don't remember. I would have never said those things, but she was praying over him. That's just not something I would say. Oh, sir, you wouldn't say that somebody was praying. Heathen much. Lord, let me do the little cross thing right now for you. I am praying for you, sir. Well, whether he has got his memory back, I don't know, but he is off the stand, thank goodness, because it was getting a little It was a little hard to watch for a while because we were all like, "Well, this is the first juror." Not juror, that's me. We were like, "Lord, this is going to be a train wreck. This is your first witness, sir." So he finally got to get off that stand and he couldn't wait. Next up, well, it was Carrie Roberts. She said she called her at 5 a.m. I think we all remember that story from the first time, so dramatically said. Her and Jen basically said the same things that when Karen called them, she was so hysterical, screaming, that woke up their husbands, and they were like, "What is wrong with her?" She does have a loud voice. You hear when they were watching the videos from Nuttall. Yeah, you could hear her screaming. Her boyfriend's dead in the snow right there, thinking somebody killed him. So yeah, she's hysterical. Anyway, she was talking about how she called her at 5, and first thing she said was John's dead, and then had the nerve to hang up. And when her husband woke up and was like, "What's that?" And she just was like, "Well, I don't know." And sounded like she was just gonna fall back asleep, but then she couldn't remember if Karen called her or she called Karen back, but somehow they got in touch. It was not a butt dial. Not yet, anyway. So they got in touch with each other again. And then Jen got involved. And so now we've got Jen. I'm cutting this all, down to size, bite size, like a little crystal burger. I do love crystals. I mean, they might give somebody the runs, but honey, child, that's what you had back in my days when y'all had nights out. Everything else was closed at like 9 p.m. Only thing left open was Crystals. We didn't really have Taco Bell at the time. And I'd never been to a Waffle House. I am so sorry to admit that for the Southern people. I was a late bloomer in the Waffle House establishment. My family's not big drinkers, so, we didn't really have a reason to go to Waffle House at 3 in the morning. Get me a sack of Crystal Burgers. Woo, child. Those little onions. Man, I'm now hankering for some crystals. Let me just get this out so I can get back to work on, fixing dinner slash crystal burgers for dinner. After Karen and Harry and Jen all got together, they met over at John's house, which is exactly where Karen was when she made those phone calls. But yet, Carrie, for some reason, thought that Karen had not checked the house at all. She said that Karen said she had not checked the house. I don't know if I believe that. Why would you make those important phone calls at 5 a.m. and not have just looked around the house for a minute? Karen is a very smart woman. I don't know if y'all know she was a professor and worked in finance. So she's smart. She is not going to kill somebody purposely or not and then tell the people she first calls that first of all John's dead was the first thing out of her mouth and then say she never even looked for John in his own house. Come on, people. Let's just put some dots together. Anyway, I'm getting myself so worked up just thinking about this again. So they went back and looked at John's house like it was an HGTV house tour. I mean, Carrie was like, I don't know why am I forgetting KarenRead's name for heaven's sakes? I'm just so upset. She said she didn't know where KarenRead was because she was upstairs while Carrie and Jen were downstairs. And don't get me started. We didn't discuss the whole wearing shoes into John's house. Thank goodness. I mean, the day's not over. She might say it tomorrow. I don't know. But Lord help me if that's cause for murder, how they're going to prove that she thinks that she must have killed John because because Karen wore her shoes into the house. Oh, I don't know, because her brain isn't thinking John might be mad at me if I have dirt on my shoes. Instead, she's thinking he's not going to care if I bring a little snow into this house when I think he might have got hit by a plow. Or worse, he's sleeping on that woman's couch somewhere, couch slash bedroom, which probably was her other thought. Let's be honest. Anyway, she says she saw the broken tail light and it was broken, had a big piece missing out of it, and that Karen had a meltdown near a snow mound when she screamed out that she saw him and they were looking out the same window and Karen that Karen was yelling out and kicking the door, trying to kick the door open. But Carrie and Jen, well, they didn't see a thing. And so when she popped up out of that car, Carrie looked at Jen and said, "She's crazy." Rude. Well, just because you don't know what your boyfriend or husband may look like if he was laying in the ground with snow trampled on you, I think I would know if I saw a body laying, if I was looking for a body of someone I love dearly, and there was just some snow on top, I would still see that looks like a person with some snow on them. I wouldn't be going, well, that looks like somebody was just building a snowman lying down, taking a nap. Come on now. Let's bury her alive because she saw John and you didn't. Well, somebody might need to get their eyes checked. That's all I'm saying. You can just go and get, you don't even have to make an appointment. They do walk ins all the time. And you can get those cute glasses now from that place, Pairs online. And you just put your color right on top of the frame and you're changing your color left and right. Jen and Kit Carrie. I'm not saying that would help you be able to see better, but you'd look better. Natural little outfits and all. Well, just because they didn't see John doesn't mean that she knew where he was. That is ridiculous. And here's the kicker about all of this about the first scene on you people on the scene. Nobody ever told Proctor, who certainly wasn't going to try and make it easy on Karen. Nobody told him that she said 3 times, 2 times, or even 1 time, "I hit him, I hit him, I hit him," or "I hit him, I hit him, I hit him." Nothing. No, sir, Barbarino. That did not happen during their first interviews. Well, Carrie's got to come back tomorrow because the day ended because there was some drama that had to go on for a minute at the end. Did I mention that Brennan was in a three-piece suit? I hope he wasn't trying to come off like Andy Griffith now. He's no Matlock. I know he's not a prosecutor, but honestly, neither is Brennan. Y'all, he is a defense attorney prosecuting somebody. Think about that for a minute. Well, there's a little bit of drama behind the scenes for the courtroom. What I have surmised. Look at me with the big words, people. Surmised. Well, Paul O'Keefe, did y'all check him out? He was side eyeing KarenRead so much, like she dented his truck. I mean, court officer supposedly had. Did you hear me say supposedly instead of supposedly? That's right, Brennan. Supposedly, court officers had to tell Paul to knock it off. He was doing a little too much. Now, I don't know if he was doing some kind of Morse code to some women he's been chatting with online. Supposedly. Did you see his wife? She was there and even for a minute was sitting next to him. Oh, she made a rare appearance, all right. Maybe to supervise. If you know, you know, but there was definitely some awkward tension between them. Am I right? And then came Proctor. No, 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 no. He didn't come. He didn't get there. He wasn't there yet. But Alan Jackson, woo wee, he smothered his name all over the place like smothered. What? See, now here's where my innocence with Waffle House comes because I was going to try and do a Waffle House thing about smothered hash browns, but I don't know the terminology well enough. I I apologize and might need to turn in my Southern card because I may not be worthy. I might get kicked out now that I think about it. I am so sorry. I'll try and do better, y'all. Anyway, Alan Jackson brought up Proctor's name more times than a Southern mama says, "Bless your heart," when she's on the phone gossiping with somebody. Proctor's been fired for misconduct. Check. Allegedly hid evidence. Check. Ignored obvious leads. Check, check. Probably ghosted a few subpoenas in his day. The defense is ready to roast. Not Nuttall, but that would have been funny. You see what I did there? Roast Nuttles. I do think somebody put a little bourbon in this drink. Oh, And we've got a new medical examiner we heard about. Says O'Keefe didn't die from hyperthermia. If that sticks, then he wasn't out there long, which blows a big old hole in the left in the snow to die storyline. And that was a surprise when Jackson said a new medical examiner was going to say he did not have hyperthermia, which is pretty amazing considered we've got some weatherman who's going to come on talking about how hard the frozen ground was because it was snowing and he died from hyperthermia. So I can't wait to hear about that little shindig of a witness, expert witness, I should say, examination and cross examination and recross and then recross a recross and recross if it was anything like today. And before we wrap up day one last act of legal drama, like I promised, because Brennan raised a stink. Oh, honey, it stunk over not getting some text messages from the ARCCA experts from a year ago, people. See, here's what happened. He said, we watched the unaired footage of the interviews that KarenRead did. We did spend some time watching those. And what we found out, what we saw, I was going to say in black and white, but that's not the newspaper. It's live and on, well, it wasn't on television, but what they saw was that there were some conversations happening via text between the defense attorneys and the ARCA gentlemen before the first trial. Well, I say before. It was definitely at some point first trial adjacent. And Brennan wants to see him. Well, that's when Judge lost her mind. She didn't even look up. She was so upset. I think she got her feelings hurt because she thinks that her favorite Alessi might have been deceiving her and she had good faith in him. Unlike how she feels about Alan Jackson. The whole time that Alessi was up there giving his best "you can't handle the truth" statement because he was hot under that collar. Lord, he was hot. And some ladies, I assure you, were feeling he was hot. I mean, he already has that whole vocabulary. He just drops like it's something he learned in second grade, second nature. But then he raised his voice at Judge Bev with such passion. I know. I'm just saying, my next door neighbor, she came out just glowing after that conversation was had. I'm not saying, I mean, allegedly. She said she just was happy that it ended, if you know what I mean. Anyway, Judge Bev, she was just scribbling. Not, I don't know if she was doodling or what, because she would not look up at poor Alessi. At one point, she said, "Are you almost done? Because I got something to say." Uh-oh. And what that something to say was, we're not having trial on Friday. No jury will come in. We're having, voir dire. Is that the word? It just came to me. Is that French? I don't know. But I sure do sound good saying it. What I'm saying is they're going to be there Friday and they're going to get toasted if Brennan has anything to say about it. Because Auntie Judge Bev, well, she's already made it perfectly clear over the past few weeks that she will have zero trouble letting the prosecution have their way with those daddies. Now, those crash daddies are not to be had. You can't have your way with them. They're married. Well, at least I think one. I know one of them is. No judgment if the other one's not. All I'm saying is they better watch their P's and Q's when Brennan comes after the crash daddies because the jury. Well, no, the jury's not even going to be there. Oh, well, you know they'll watch it on Law and Crime, just like the rest of us. We all know. Who are we kidding? Not watch the trial, see what's happening. You know, as soon as they get home from that trial, if they're not watching it on Law and Crime YouTube channel, they're listening to it. Honestly, it probably wasn't a long crime. They're just listening to the best one on the planet. That would be Emily D. Baker. If you don't know her, get to knowing her. She's got her own app. I think she said there was 37,000 people on her channel yesterday watching it. All I'm saying is get it, girl. We are not worthy, but she knows what she's talking about. And did I mention she worked in the same uh, prosecution office in LA at the same time Mr. Alan Jackson did? Oh, yeah, she did. But I'm saying you shouldn't listen to me, but I'm not doing the whole during the day trial watching, and she is. So are several other people. There's some good ones too. Melanie Little, although she gets a little feisty sometimes and she'll snap back at some people. But she's like my age. She might be going through some menopause or pre-menopausal, and that heat be heating up, and she don't have time to be nice and courteous when somebody is telling her how to do her own damn show. One good thing about getting older, you just say whatever you want. We're old. That's what happens. Anyway, I'm worried about this Friday thing going down with ARCA because I have a feeling the judge is going to be asking a few questions too. The good thing is, those boys are going to be the smartest guys in the room. What? Well, Alessi might be up there with them, but certainly Judge Bebby and Brennan, they could eat them for dinner. And maybe, just maybe, we'll get to see that cannon like they talked about last time that they couldn't bring in. Let's put on a good show. I mean, the jury's not going to be watching, right? Oh, who are we kidding? Please, people. And with that, I have just rambled so much. I apologize, but I mean, I don't really have many people to talk to this about, so I just get on a roll and my head just is going to explode. But I got things to do, like take a little trip down the road to get me some crystal burgers. I would ask if y'all would please. I'm trying to make a living too. Not everybody gets to be Emily D. Baker or Melanie Little or the lawyer, Peter, who just put in a ping pong table. I mean, no, 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 not ping pong. I apologize. It's that, I could almost play tennis, but I don't have the energy anymore. What's that called? Pinochle? No. You know what I'm talking about. I think it starts with the P. Everybody's playing it. Anyway, I need some support too, please. So I'm going to just ask if you would please like, subscribe, share, and send your notifications because I may be popping off with some shorts here and there because I don't have all the time always to do all this talking at one time. And it would be a lot shorter probably if I could just jump on every once in a while and do a couple of minutes here and there with what's on my mind right now. So if you want to be notified, I mean, I might be better in small doses. You never know. Like Jägermeister. Maybe that's what somebody put in this drink. Ugh, licorice. Anyway, y'all, it's been an honor to talk to y'all about day one. I hope you're sticking around for day two coverage. That I'll be dropping off faster than, well, my ex drops off the kids when I'm standing in the front yard of the trailer park. Okay. Well, enough of that. Thank you, everybody. This has been another episode of Sustained and Unfiltered, y'all. You remember what I said? You come for the trial, but you stayed for the tea. Bye.